Hey guys, I just wanted to give you a really quick review before you take your test over human muscles, gross anatomy. Uh, that is going to be your assignment for both today and tomorrow, Monday and Tuesday, so that gives you 2 days to do it. I wanted to call your attention first to something that I posted on day 8, online class day 8, March 25th. If you go back to that, you have this first assignment here. It's called Human Muscles Gross Anatomy Resources. Okay, so we're going to look at that here in just a second. You also have this post here. This was just practice diagrams for you to practice labeling. You don't have to do that, but you may want to go back and look at this and review this. This is the document right here. There is actually, it's called Zygote Body. I gave you the website here on that resources document. You can click on that, and it actually will, I give you all the instructions here on how to use that. To kind of be able to look at these muscles more in 3D on a human body. And then I also have lots of diagrams here with the muscles labeled for you, lots of different views. That is one thing that you want to be very careful as you're looking at these diagrams. Now this one, it's pretty obvious here that this is, the anterior side of the human body, and then this is the posterior side of the human body. But I also have it labeled there for you, anterior and posterior view. You can tell this is the back of the head, this is the buttocks. You can tell this is the chest, the face. So that's pretty obvious. Don't forget anatomical position as well. The hands, remember the palms are facing forward. So the label of anterior and posterior view is very important when it comes to especially arm and leg pictures. Because it may be hard to know what you're looking at unless you realize which side of the arm or leg that you're looking at. So here we can see this is a lateral view of the face. I think that's pretty obvious. This is an anterior view of the neck. It tells you here anterior neck. So again, the front of your neck. This is going to be, I hope you can tell this is the chest. This is an anterior view of the chest and the abdomen. And on most of the diagrams that I have given you, I have tried to make a note, if it wasn't already on there, oh, this is an anterior view of the so-and-so. This is a posterior view of the so-and-so, so that you can tell which side of the body is it that you're looking at. Here's a really important one, an anterior view. Obviously, this is the hand, okay? So this is the arm. Again, this is the palm facing forward. This is the front of the arm, and these are the muscles you can see. You can see the long and short head of the biceps brachii. You can see the long head of the triceps brachii. You can also see the medial head. You can also see the palmaris longus here, the flexor carpi ulnaris, several others that we haven't talked about, the brachialis, the brachioradialis. Some of these you don't have to know, but some of these you do. So again, this is an anterior view of the arm, so pay attention to what the note is as far as, are we looking at the anterior view of the arm or the leg, the posterior view of the arm and the leg, because that's going to help you to recognize those muscles. You can see here that these muscles here in the forearm, you have 3 here in the row. The most medial one is that flexor carpi ulnaris. Then the palmaris longus is in the middle, and then this one you don't have to know, but the flexor carpi radialis is the most lateral one of those 3. The most lateral muscle here on the forearm is the brachioradialis, and notice how the brachialis is kind of deep to that. And a little bit more medial. So again, a lot of those directional terms we learned at the beginning are going to come in very handy when you're looking at these. Notice that this is a posterior view of the arm. So again, here we're looking at the back of the arm. So again, you can see the triceps brachii, the long head. You can see the lateral head here. You can also see the brachioradialis better here on this posterior view. So obviously the brachioradialis is there you can see it better on the posterior view. You can also see that on the posterior view, the flexor carpi radialis again is that most medial muscle. Again, remember that we're looking at the back of the arm here. So again, this is medial and this is lateral. That palm is facing forward. So this is the back of the hand. This is the back of the arm. And so this is medial, the flexor carpi ulnaris. And then this over here is lateral. Moving on. We see here, we have here both an anterior and a posterior view. Now, I don't have these labeled, but you can tell here, this is anterior because you can see the toes. And we know that in the toes are on the pointing toward the anterior side. So since we can see the toes here, this tells us this is an anterior view of the leg. So on an anterior view of the leg, you can see the quadriceps, the rectus femoris. You can see the tibialis anterior very easily. You can see the sartorius, that strip going down here. You can see some of those adductors, like the adductor magnus and the adductor longus. You can see the tensor fascia lata here on the hip. The iliopsoas, which is made of the psoas major and the iliacus, which are these two right here. And then on the posterior view, this is the buttocks, guys. You can see the gluteus maximus and the gluteus medius. You can see your hamstrings. Notice with your hamstrings, again, this is the posterior view. Here's your calcaneus, your heel bone. There's your Achilles tendon. So this is medial. This side is medial. This side is lateral. So you can see that semimembranosus is probably the most medial in this view, but it's a little bit deep as well. We can see the semitendinosus is medial to the biceps femoris. This is the biceps femoris. This is the semitendinosus, and the semimembranosus is kind of deep to that semitendinosus. And then we can see the gastrocnemius here. That's your calf muscle. This is a posterior view of the body. This is the back of the body, so you can see the trapezius here. Again, it would be on this side too, but they've kind of cut it away so you can see some of the deeper muscles. You can see this side says deep. So we're not really learning the deep muscles. We're learning the superficial muscles. So we can see the trapezius here. The sternocleidomastoid comes down there kind of from the back of the head below that occipital bone all the way down to the collarbone in the front. You can see the deltoid, which is that shoulder muscle here. You can see it here as well. You can see that infraspinatus here. You can see the teres major. You can see the triceps again. This is the back of the arm, the posterior side of the arm. You can see the latissimus dorsi, also called the lats. This is the delts, the traps, the lats. The latissimus dorsi are the lats. Again, you can see that gluteus medius and that gluteus maximus there. Again, this is an anterior view again of the chest, so we can see the pectoralis major. Again, here's the deltoid from the front. We can see a little bit of the superior portion of the trapezius. There's that sternocleidomastoid coming down, meeting there at the clavicle. We can see some of the biceps here, the medial and lateral head of the biceps. We can see a little bit of the lats, the latissimus dorsi there, laterally. We have our external oblique here, and underneath the external, you have the internal oblique. You can see your linea alba here, this white line that goes all the way up and down is called the linea alba. The pectoralis minor is deep. So this is the pectoralis major. If we cut the pectoralis major away, it's been cut and reflected, so pulled back, we can see the pectoralis minor underneath. So the pectoralis minor is one of the only deep muscles that we're learning. The pectoralis minor is a deep muscle on the chest. The pectoralis major is the superficial muscle on the chest. And then, of course, the external oblique is here it has been cut and reflected. Here we can see it's not been cut, so this is the external oblique. If we cut and pull it back, reflect it, you can see the internal oblique underneath. So again, that internal oblique is one of the only other deep muscles that we are learning. We can see mainly here on the face, the main one you have to know is the masseter, but you can also see here there's that sternocleidomastoid on the neck. Again, it starts kind of at the back of the head at the bottom of the occipital bone and wraps around the neck and stops here at the clavicle. So that's the sternocleidomastoid. And then we have some of these neck muscles that are kind of deep. So underneath that sternocleidomastoid, more medially, we have the sternohyoid muscle. And then we also have a sternothyroid, which I'm not seeing it here. Let me see, sternohyoid. It's on one of the others. But we do have a sternohyoid here that you need. It's more medial. It's right on top of the trachea here, guys. This is the trachea, the windpipe, this white that you see here. And so the sternohyoid is directly on top of that trachea. And we'll look more at we'll look at the sternothyroid here in a minute. We also have our digastric and our mylohyoid. So the mylohyoid is here kind of lateral, and then the digastric is more medial here, underneath the jaw, underneath the lower jaw. So lifting up the chin and looking under, you can see the digastric is more medial and the mylohyoid muscles are more lateral. Again, here we can just see an anterior view of the body. Again, we can see a little bit of the anterior sides of the arms and legs, as well as the chest and abdomen, a little bit of the neck here. Okay, so we have the sternocleidomastoid again coming down here to the clavicle. We have the trapezius again, just the superior portion. You can see it mainly on the back. the deltoid, the pectoralis major, the external oblique. Remember, internal oblique is underneath that. The pectoralis minor underneath the pectoralis major that has been cut and pulled back. You can see your rectus abdominis here. That's your six-pack. So again, I probably didn't really focus on that up here, but here, this is the rectus abdominis here, and you can see it here as well. That's when we say somebody has a six-pack or an eight-pack, that's what you're talking about. There's that linea alba, that white line going all the way up and down. There's that strip called the sartorius. We also have our adductor longus here. It's a little bit more medial. Our gracilis is lateral to that adductor longus. Then we have our iliopsoas here. Gluteus medius, you can see just a little bit. You can see it a lot better from the posterior view. Here again, just another picture. Here we have a rectus abdominis, our linea alba, the white line. We have the external oblique, internal oblique, deltoid, pectoralis major. We can see a little bit of the biceps here. Here are some more views of the arm. Again, anterior view, so front of the arm, posterior view, back of the arm. So here's the back of the hand. This is the palm of the hand. Again, you can see the deltoid. You can see a little bit of the triceps, but the biceps you can see really well. You can see the brachialis here. You can see the brachioradialis here. So again, the brachioradialis wraps around the front and kind of goes back to the back just a little bit, but you can see the brachioradialis much better on the front than on the back. And then you can see that brachialis a lot smaller there. The flexor carpi ulnaris, remember, it's more medial. The palmaris longus is right beside it. It's in the middle. And then, of course, you have your flexor carpi radialis, which is that third one of the three here. It's the most medial one, but you don't have to know it. Again, from the back, we can see the deltoid. We can see the triceps much better back here. We can see a little bit of the brachioradialis there. You're really not seeing the brachialis muscle from the back. You can see that flexor carpi radialis, flexor carpi ulnaris. Again, it's more medial, so this is the medial side. This is the lateral side. And then here, this is another anterior view of the leg. So again, we can see the sartorius here. We can see the tibialis anterior. We can see the soleus here. We can see the gastrocnemius, which is the calf muscle. You can see it better from the posterior view. So again, just kind of trying to go through those with you a little bit and making sure that you realize, pay attention to what the label is on the picture, whether it's a posterior view or an anterior view, because that really determines what you're looking at. And again, you have these to help you. Don't forget to go back and look at your Gross Anatomy Quiz 1 and Quiz 2 from before spring break. I did go back and grade all of your assignments as well as your quizzes. So go back and look at anything that you missed before you take the test. I don't really think the test is that long, but again, I'm giving you 2 days to do it. And again, all of your work is not actually going to be due until Sunday night at about 11:55 p.m. But again, I'm trying to give it to you, pretty early in the week so that you have plenty of time to work on it. And I'm allotting, if you look at the lesson plans that I posted yesterday, I'm allotting 2 days, just for you to take that test so that you feel like you have plenty of time and you don't feel like you're rushed. The other thing that I wanted to mention before you take the test is just about when you're talking about muscles that help do certain things, like on the assignments that I gave you or the quizzes, give 2 muscles that help you with eating and explain how. Give 2 muscles that helped you with jumping jacks and explain. So when you're doing that, you need to be specific. You need to talk about the actions of these muscles that allow you to do whatever it is. You're going to have some questions similar to those on your test as well. So you need to go back and look at those actions. You can look it up online. What muscles help you do this or do that? But then once you have determined that, go back and look at those actions. What is that muscle specifically doing that is helping you to do the jumping jack or whatever the question is on the exam? So, don't just be really kind of general, but go into specifics, okay? For example, you have muscles that helped you adduct the arms during a jumping jack. Okay, so you could have talked about that when you bring your arms back toward your body. That's adducting the arm, and it's the trapezius or latissimus dorsi or pectoralis major. I think it's the pectoralis major maybe that does that. So anyway, you're talking about, well, the pectoralis major would be a really important muscle in doing a jumping jack because it helps to adduct the arm, and this is what you're doing when you bring your arms back down to your side. So you're explaining to me, what is that muscle doing during that jumping jack? What is the action? It adducts the arm. Adduct is the action. The arm is the body part that it does that action to. So I want you to talk about, it adducts the arm, which means it's bringing it back down to your sides when you're doing your jumping jack, so that you are showing me that you understand what that muscle is doing. The other thing that I wanted to make note of before you take your exam are the antagonistic pairs that we've talked about. Remember that muscles exist in antagonistic pairs because muscles can only pull. They cannot push. They can only pull. So you have one muscle that pulls a body part in one direction, and then you have to have another muscle that pulls it in the opposite direction. In order to be able to return that body part to its original position. The one that I gave you the example of was the biceps and the triceps, okay? The biceps flexes the forearm, okay? It pulls the forearm toward the shoulder. The triceps does just the opposite. It extends the forearm, meaning it pulls the forearm back down to its original position. So, if I ask you about antagonistic pairs of muscles, whenever you take your exam, that's what I'm talking about. You're not going to use the triceps or biceps as an example, but you're going to give me a couple of other examples of antagonistic pairs. So look at the actions of muscles that you wrote down in your notes. Look at the actions of muscles on those pages, those textbook pages that I posted, which I also posted right here on day 6 and 7, March 23rd, 24th, the textbook pages. That gives you all the actions and origins and insertions for these muscles. And then, if you printed this page out and wrote those notes, fine. If you didn't, then you did it here under Human Muscles Assignment 1 and 2. So go back and look. When I ask you for antagonistic pairs, you're going to say, well, this muscle and this muscle are antagonists to one another because this one abducts the thigh and this one adducts the thigh. Okay? Remember, antagonistic pairs are two muscles that do opposite actions to the same body part. So again, the biceps flexes the forearm, the triceps extends the forearm. Okay, we can't have one that flexes the forearm and another one that extends the knee. Okay, those are not antagonists. They have to do opposite actions to the same body part. So the biceps flexes the forearm, the triceps extends the forearm. Those two are considered antagonists to one another because they do opposite actions to the same body part. Okay, so you're going to find me a couple of other examples. You can read through the textbook pages. It talks about some in there. You can look at the actions of muscles that you've written down and give me a couple of other pairs. So 2 pairs, that's 4 muscles. These 2 are antagonistic, and then these 2 are antagonistic. So again, I'm going to be asking you for a couple more pairs of muscles that are antagonists to one another, and I want you to explain to me, what does that mean that they're antagonists, and specifically tell me, how are they antagonists? Okay, so please, if you have any questions, please let me know. Send me an email me your phone number, and I can call you or Skype you or FaceTime you. Send me a message here on Google Classroom if you have any questions about anything. Now, I'm going to be getting some more work posted, I think that everything for you guys will post today that you're going to need for this week, or most everything, maybe not everything, but most everything will. But anything else that you'll need for this week, I will be putting on there. I will be posting, let me see, your test is for today and tomorrow, and then the rest of the week we're going to be working on the heart. I do have some materials here that I'm going to be posting for you. I'm also going to be posting a video where I go over this PowerPoint, and then you're going to have a Google form to complete that I'll be posting today, and you'll also have this interactive notebook to do as well. And I will talk a little bit more about that in the video that I'll make over that PowerPoint about the heart. So anyway, again, please let me know if you have any questions. And again, I should have everything posted that you'll need for the whole week by tomorrow, which is Tuesday, and then it will be due by Sunday evening at 11:55 p.m. Hope you have a good day and a good week, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.